financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is credit card debt is a problem and exploding in this economy. And speaking of credit card debt, my favorite credit card anti-debt person, good morning, Brian Small.
Wow, that was a lot of words, but good morning, Ken. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you, and I appreciate your comment of me making a lot of words as a way of saying that you don't appreciate that and you won't do that.
No,
which
no.
would be a nice thing.
I
would
do
be
appreciate
a nice fresh change.
I
in
appreciate
our show.
the topic. Are you saying I talk too much?
I don't know. You can interpret that any way you want. Jeffrey Linden, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. It's great to be here. Those are some of the nicest words I've heard you say on these morning shows to Brian.
Thank you very much. Pat Simasko.
Hi, how are you?
You should have heard what we said before the tape started.
I
Yeah,
know,
lots
I
of
know.
fun. Lots of fun.
So, we got Brian going again here.
Oh, God.
So, credit card debt and interest on the rise. Washington Examiner this week. Credit card interest rates surged to record levels for new cards. Been tracked for 20 years by this organization. The interest rates are the highest they've ever been. Guy says he's been watching the rates on a monthly basis for more than a decade, or not 20 years.
Higher than before?
So what
Higher-
it is that
Over 20% for first time ever.
if you look at the average credit card, right? So now taking all of them in combination, the rate is now over 20%. You may have a credit card in your wallet.
20% higher or 20%?
20%,
20.17.
Average
Average rate
rate.
20.17.
You may have a
Holy
credit card
mackerel.
in your wallet that's 12% or 13% interest, but
Because I
now,
got it back in 1927 when
right.
I was
But
mean,
the
I-
average now is above. That means that there are some people that are walking around with 35% credit cards.
Oh my God.
So I guess the comment at the beginning is not going to have any impact.
None whatsoever.
But anyway, staying right with that, I've been watching it for probably since 2012. It's something that I probably check once every 2 weeks when we're doing the show. The average interest rate on credit cards has been steady, right around 14.1, 14.2% for really the last 10 years, up until this inflation has hit. What this means is they've bumped the rates 6% across the board already. And what Schultz, the guy who's being quoted in this article, says the troubling truth is we're nowhere near where the top is going to be, because things are going to spin in a poorer direction from the standpoint of credit card debt as the economy absorbs this inflation rate.
Before you get into the rest of it, think about the craziness of this, right? Goods and products and services now, because of inflation, are at least 7.5% to 8% higher than they were a year ago, right? Inflation. So you're buying something on a credit card, you are carrying your balance, so you're paying 8% more for the product in the first place, and now you're going to pay 6% interest in addition, extra, to have the privilege of using that credit card. Now we're at 14% more, just on a straight
And
math.
your income has not gone up a penny
Right.
from last year to this
It
year.
definitely, even if it's gone up, it hasn't gone up 14%.
Yeah.
So every penny you spend on a credit card, you're losing money.
And even adding the two interest figures together is not as severe as the consequences it really is. If you've got $50,000 of credit card debt and you're paying 20% interest on it, you're paying $10,000 of juice per year. That's $850 a month. That's insane. If you think about it,
another
the
house
person
for some.
the person who has $50,000 of credit card debt, and Brian's going to chime in because there's a zillion of them,
There are.
is not making $800,000 a year.
That's the most expensive
person-
cup of coffee he bought ever in his whole life.
Absolutely. If you have $50,000 of credit card debt in the normal course, it's because your income isn't sufficient to cover your spending, and you're using credit cards to finance your deficit spending. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And it's not just the credit cards, though. It's also like auto loans right now. Auto loan defaults are headed way up because they gave everybody a new auto loan last year or the year before while COVID money was coming in. And so now suddenly there's a ton of people driving $1,000 a month cars that are defaulting left and right. And the inflationary factors here, you go back and they lose their car and they need to go get another car. Cars are $200 more
You think
a
this will
month.
start driving down the price of used cars then? Because when you get all these defaults back, they'll come back on the market, and maybe used cars will come down a bit.
The price of used cars won't come down until the chip shortage problem is resolved, and that's probably 2 years away.
Right, and it depends on which market. A lot of used cars don't get resold in the U.S. market; they get shipped overseas.
But the big global picture here is, with interest rates higher, credit cards debt going up, auto defaults happening, you have got to be extraordinarily careful with your money, and you have to have a better plan than
Do you think we should
pulling your
start a
credit
credit
cards
card company and like undercut the market by offering credit cards at 19.5% interest rather than 20.1?
I think that the board of directors would probably say, offer it at 38% because somebody will take it.
Well, that becomes the other interesting. Here's an interesting one. I'll throw it out before we come to the break. I am so fed up with the political situation in our country right now that all the time I think, God, why don't I just do a GoFundMe campaign to run for president and try and what would my platform be? And I say to myself, just kind of fantasizing, would I be an advocate of saying there should be a federal cap on interest rates on credit cards at 15%? Because we spend so much time talking about how credit card debt creates poverty and denies people retirements for the middle class. And I go back and forth on it from the standpoint of this. If you did that, you would then cut the availability of credit card funding to a great number of people. We'll take a break. We'll come back on this.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Samasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, we'll get through this, we'll get through this.
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Samasco Law got the success they deserved.
Samasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So we were talking. So my idea was, would I cap the rate on the interest rates that could be charged on credit cards? Because it's wrong to charge someone 20% interest on a credit card when, if I loan you money verbally, isn't it, Jeff? I can charge them 5% and in writing 7% in Michigan.
In Michigan, yeah.
So there's
If
an
you're not a
insanity
bank.
here. But the problem is this: if you said that no credit cards higher than 15%. Then the banking industry would say, okay, we're only going to give credit cards to the higher worthy credit people. We'll cut out the people that have the lower FICO scores. And then if you did that, those people wouldn't get in debt, but they wouldn't have access to the funds, and then consumer spending would go down. And what happens when consumer spending goes down?
GNP goes down.
And then we have a
Recession.
So I
do
guess
have one-
my
I do have one
position
other-
wouldn't be that you can't do that. You can't cut the interest rates on
I
credit
have
cards.
one additional concern about what you've said. Who says you are allowed to run for president?
Well, I actually Googled that one too, if you want to know. And I said, what are the steps of applying for to run for president? And there's this little form you fill out, and you send it to the government, and then at that point you need to raise money.
Oh.
And then you have to get on the ballot in each state, and each state has different rules of getting on the ballot, and you need signatures. So you need to create an organization. So you see, this is beyond just
I'm going to just
an
say
idea.
you got way too much free time at
Yeah,
home. We got to
clearly.
get you out of the
This
house.
was one article.
We got to get you out.
I mean, your base criteria is 35 years old and born in the United States.
Well,
After that-
I'm over 35. I
Indeed you are.
I haven't doubled it, but
Well,
I'm
let's ask
over.
what's your position on Roe versus Wade being overturned, and let's get into the border
I think
control.
a woman should make her own choice in
There you
terms
go.
of her body. I would be your conservative Democrat or your middle of the road Republican, but if I was going to run, I would want to be on a third ticket, because I think the problem in this country is the two-party system no longer works.
That's true.
I think a three-party system would work. The third party comes in, don't call them an independent, name it a different party. Make it a third party,
Tea
and
party.
that third party appeals
They tried
to
that.
appeals to the middle of the road of both the Republican and the Democratic Party. They take control, they run the country, and those issues become compromised that need to be compromised because you have a third party advocating for it. That's my position. Now let's go back to credit
I was
cards.
going to say, they're with the show. Let's talk about Rick and Anna and their credit
So
cards.
if you think I should run, send me an email. All right.
They'll
Rick-
send you money.
That'll come next. That's another one. Isn't it annoying how I get like 100 emails a day
Only?
for asking for money? Everything is asking for money for a political campaign. Just because I've agreed to, I voted on something. You know, I agreed to something. You know, it's just like, it's annoying that they can't give you news without asking for money.
I don't get those.
find-
I just get notified that I inherited millions of dollars from some royalty in Africa.
in Uganda. Yeah. Well, congratulations. If that happens, you can fund the campaign.
Right.
We'll put together a pack. All right, Rick and Anna. They're 45. 3 kids. Rick's an insurance agent and a financial planner. Anna is a dental hygienist. Combined income, $190,000 a year. Good income. They live in a nice home in the suburbs. Cash in bank, $5,000. Credit card debt, $120,000. First thing to Brian, Can that be true?
Yes, happens all the time.
How
And-
can they make $190,000 a year and only have $5,000 in the bank?
Well, it's not as difficult to understand. I mean, as you think it is.
Because they spend 191,000.
Yes, well, they do. They spend 191,000. But what happened was they weren't always making $190,000, but they lived like they were making $190,000, and so they kept saying, "Well, my spending." My income will eventually catch up to my spending. That's people don't think like that, but that's really what they think.
Do you know
of.
how at parties they sometimes do like a stick with a face, and they have the face of whoever it is for the party, and everyone's walking around with that same face on? Well,
What parties
that
do you go
face,
to?
That face for Rick goes
face
on
parties.
my face in my 40s, because no matter how much money I made, the demands for spending were greater.
Right, and so eventually,
With the kids and the dance lessons and the
tie and the iPods and the
costumes.
right. But the problem is that when their income actually started to exceed what they needed to spend, then they wanted more. They said, "I need more." Oh, the Smiths, they're sending their kid to private school. We should send our kid to private school. Or the Smiths bought an RV. We need an RV. And keeping up with the Joneses causes you to live outside of your means instead of reflecting upon the fact that now you have enough money to accomplish keeping the roof over your head, living, eating, sleeping, and being happy, and being able to put away for retirement, kids' college, and other things.
I want to just refine that. I don't think it's always just keeping up with the Joneses.
When you're making 190, it is.
Well, let me just challenge you on it. I'm not saying it's still not wrongful. I think it's just self-indulgence.
Right.
And the distinction I'm going to give you is, I spent too much money on my children and family when
That's
I was
what
in
I
my
was getting
40s,
to.
but I didn't. To be honest, I don't give a rat's you-know-what about what the Joneses did. I did
No.
it because I wanted to do it. I wanted my kid to have the nice car when they turned 16, and I wanted them to have the dance lessons, and it wasn't about keeping up. It was being stupid and self-indulgent is what it was.
Okay, well,
So don't say it's always keeping up with the Joneses.
but-
You can be a stupid self-indulgent
No, but your
person
kids
also.
are keeping up with the Joneses.
But at the end of the day,
yeah, they
indirectly,
were.
yeah.
Kids driving a
they
new
were.
car.
Yeah.
and the
They
kids
were.
yeah.
Right.
it's not
Probably
fair.
all
that-
circles
At the
back.
private school and at the.
But at the end of the day,
That's
the
a good
problem
point.
is that they make plenty of money with 120 grand in credit card debt, and they need to do something dramatic to change the way they're living, because 10 years from now, that 120 will be 240.
Right
You know
now,
what I
right
found
now
out-
they're spending $3,000 a month.
You got to
on
get
credit
rid of the
cards.
kids. It's amazing.
You can't sell them on
Parents
eBay.
that don't have
I
kids
said that all the time.
have
Yes.
way more money.
Way more.
Way
Yeah.
more
When they get
money.
to 60, they have like mountains of money.
Kids, be nice to Uncle Fred if he's single, because he'll give you all of his money.
Let's take a break, and then we'll figure out how to solve the problem for Rick and Anna.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Samasco Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Samasco Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order, and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Samasco Law.
Time for announcements. So I remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. Just call our offices, 888-235-HELP, or go online, and there's boxes to click to sign up for a free consultation. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat or Jim Samasco, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go online, check out the free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by myself and Jeff Linden. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
All right, so we're back. You know, at the break we were talking about other reasons, and Brian pointed out a good one. You get divorced in that area of your 40s and 50s. That zaps cash flow too, and can cause an increase in credit card debt.
Well, credit cards are there to solve a problem, but you don't want to keep that problem going.
So let's look at their budget. So that they've got $11,000 coming in a month, but with their mortgage payment at $2,900 and their credit card payments, they're negative $900 a month right now, Brian. So what's their solution in terms of getting rid of this credit card debt?
Well, the reality for Rick and
Just
Anna,
file Chapter 7 bankruptcy?
They don't qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. They make too much money, and so they're not going to pass the means test. But that doesn't mean there isn't a viable
they file
solution.
a Chapter 13 bankruptcy?
So
you talk about that all the time.
A Chapter 13 in this case would pay back all of their credit card debt in full at 0% interest, but it would pay it back in full. The better solution is to pay back less, because no matter what they're going to do, they need
So they need to call that number. If you have more than $10,000 of credit card debt, call this number. We have a secret, super program for you. Just call our number.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
First of all, the commercials are worse than that. But that being said,
Well, wait, when did Eeyore come in?
they need to call us, because we have our debt resolution program, which is going to get Rick and Anna out of debt in a very short period of time, usually 12 to 24 months. It's not a magic wand, and we're going to use the power of the minimum monthly payment to create a nest egg to negotiate.
Did you say the power of the minimum monthly payment?
No, you said it.
What are you talking about?
So, Rick and Anna are making their minimum monthly payments on their credit cards.
$3,000 a month.
That is sufficient money if we, instead of paying their credit cards, which will take 30 years to pay off,
more.
If we said, probably longer. If we take that same amount of money and put it in a bank account and save it, it gives us the negotiating power and gives us the pool of money to negotiate to settle all of that $120,000 for the debt in roughly 12 to 24 months.
See, what happens is we use that $3,000 a month. We use it to settle the debt, and the debts, we end up settling the credit card debts in the range of 35 to 37, 38% on average. Some of them we settle for 15, 20%. Some of them we settle for 45, 50%, 60%. It depends on the card. Some of the cards are easier than others to settle. We know that going in. It covers the attorney fees, and it also covers tax consequences, because when you settle credit card debt, if you're solvent before and after you settle the credit card debt, you actually have to pay tax on the canceled indebtedness. But the whole thing gets resolved in that 24-month period. And here's the benefit. As soon as Rick and Anna do that, and they're beyond that 22, 23 months to settle the debt, now they're $3,000 cash plus every month. Now think about it. If all of a sudden you're saving $3,000 a month, because they have sufficient income to pay for their expenses and the dance classes and everything else, they just don't want to waste the money on interest, they're now going to put that money in the bank. In 20 years, that $3,000 a month growing becomes $700,000 of retirement savings.
And just for the record, for everybody watching, even if it's $250 a month that you end up saving, it becomes a lot of money because you haven't paid 20% or more in interest on those credit cards forever, with still the balance staying the same. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Just to give you the number, 20 years, that number, when they're 65, not even at retirement age, they'd have $694,000 in the bank. And that would be if they had $60,000 of credit card debt. If they took the full $120,000 and were saving the $3,000, they'd have $964,000. The point is, this is their mechanism of having a retirement, and nothing else changes other than getting rid of the credit card debt. Brian, is that what they should do?
Absolutely.
Jeff,
No
is that what
question.
they should do?
No question.
Pat?
And then throw away the credit card so they don't get
Amen.
back into it.
Absolutely. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.